Torah or Parshat Mishpatim, page Ayin Tes. Okay, let's start again. V'nei Oitzat. Okay, let's go. Second column on the page. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining there's a level of akara that has no costs, so to speak. Ein lo valad. She doesn't even have a cost. Cost is the level of bittul, klirek, and machzik, an empty vessel holds and a full one doesn't. So he says, how do you come to that? Okay, the first few lines we learned, so we'll go quick. In the eight lasis klirek, the eight to make an empty vessel, like it says, leif nishber v'nitke. Eshkin is dakiroch Hashem rests amongst people that are bottled. V'kamashal u'menayse keli klei kibul. Like an expert that makes a vessel to the receptacle. You have to bang it all around until it becomes hollow inside. A person has to be humble and broken. That there should be an empty place within him, allowing for godliness to exist. Okay, seeing this also, this we still learned yesterday. There's another thing. It says, the Mishnah says, the Gemara says, Halacha says that the cup that you use for kiddush and benching has 10 prerequisites to it. It has to be it has to, one of the things is it has to be washed inside. From inside it has to be washed. What does that mean? Even somebody that by nature is humble. He's poor. She doesn't have the strength, so to speak, the guts to be proud. He says what it needs is, you can't be drawn after dvarim amutarim, even permissible things. In other words, not only the level of bittul is not to do forbidden things, the bittul is you're not allowed to even do permissible things. To be makosh b'amalev nefesh. Because it's possible for the world that can keep doing physical things which are allowed, but as the Gemara uses the expression, you can be a novel b'shus Torah. You can be a despicable person with Torah permission, meaning you're not doing anything wrong. And if your heart will be turned to worldly things, it's impossible to have this be a vessel until you're tired, until you become pure. In other words, even if you have permissible taivas and temptations, you still need to get out of that, because then you have proper bittul. Like a dirty cup. You can't put wine into it until you wash it. Or a woman is not able to become pregnant even if until she goes to the mikveh. In other words, in order for a person to be connected to Hashem, you need bittul in a pure way. Now you can do everything permissible according to Torah, and you can be completely impure. Like the Alter Rebbe says, when you have taivas, you lower it into sholosh kibbutz tameis, even kosher taivas. He says, okay, another thing. Now, even after a person makes his keli, which is clean and pure, there's another thing you need to do. What is that? When you mashakos about this Chana al Hashem, ubochi sifken. Chana, when she wanted to have the baby Shmuel, right? She cried to Hashem. She davened ubochi sifken. She cried. What does that mean? Ki hinei kenesis Yisrael yeshlo kama b'chinas ushenis. Like we have everything in Torah. The Neshama has a lot of names. Hashem has a lot of names. Everything. Yisrael has a lot of names. He says the Yidden have a lot of names to them. What does it mean? When she is in the level of giving birth, then they're called Leah, because Leah had a lot of kids. When she's in a barren state, where she doesn't give birth to love and fear, then she calls Chana. Why? Like it says, Chana ein yoladim. In other words, like this. When the Eden have Ava v'Yira, the children, love and fear, which are the children of Seichel, so then they're called Leah. When they don't have children, then they're called the level of Chana. Like it says, Chana ein yoladim. She didn't have any Ava v'Yira. What did Chana do to get children?
Hashem gave us this power, right?
Yeah.
Strength,
To break it.
To break it.
Yeah, to overcome it.
He gave it to me.
Yeah, to overcome it. The Eitzah, and what's the Eitzah? V'atispalol Chana al Havaya. Chana davened to Al Hashem. It doesn't say she davened El Hashem. She davened Al Hashem. What does Al Hashem mean? Well, Inyan, Kishem Havaya made Al Shem Shemahave Sakel Miyayin Liyesh. Okay? Yud Kevavke means Mahava creator. That refers to Shem Zel B'chol Elemis Atzilis B'ri Yitzir Nasiya. She'ein Chilik B'neim. In other words, like this. Havaya created Atzilis and B'riya and Yitzir Nasiya. Right? So Havaya created all of that. What's the difference? Zebara v'zayotza. This is the level of B'riya Yeshmiyayin, and this is the level of Yitzira, which is more of a form of it. Avol derech klal hineu mechayes kulam umahava eisem miyayin liyesh. But generally speaking, the level of Yud Kei Vavke, which means mahava, Hashem is making everything equally exist. We said, daimim tzemei chai medaber, daimim is existing as much as medaber. Inanimate exists as much as medaber. Achamit Hashem zev, but the real, so in other words, like this, the name Havaya really exists in all worlds. But Amit Hashem ze'ein elagabe elvis and netzolim. Vanivram, Vaneitzrim, Vanasim. He says all four worlds. The world of a Netzolim, Nivrayim, Neitzrim, and Nasim, which is Atzilas, B'ri, Yitzir, Nasiya. So therefore, Havaya refers to the level of Elokus that's creating worlds, the four worlds. Ach, Avalagabe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'chveido v'atzmei, Lo Yishayach Klal, Lo Yimeshem Zeh. You can't use the name, in other words, like we learned, there's Anechi and Havaya, there's Ata and Havaya. Havaya, you can't say about the essence of Hashem. It's still a name of Hashem, the way Hashem is being identified with something else. Creation. I feel very need for as we begin Mitzias Clark, it says on the Havaya Shali Nisi, Atu Kedrim Shenivra, Atu Lachar Shenivra Oilam. Okay? Which means basically like this. The level of Yud Kei Vavke is the level of Elokus creating worlds. Like when Yud Kei Vavke, Yud is Atzilus, Hey is Bria, Vav is Yitzira, Hey is Asiya, and it's called Mahava, creator. If it's creating, it's connected to creations. This is what it says in the Pirkei Rabbi Lazar. The only thing that existed is what Pirkei Rabbi Lazar says. The only thing that existed before Hashem created the world was Hashem in His name. What does it mean, Hashem in His name? Pirush Shmei Levad. Shmei Eina Begadim Machaya Klal. It's Levade, like it says, Kinisk of Shmei Levade. That, before Hashem created the world, even the level of Shem, name, is infinitely greater than the world. It wasn't even creation. Like it's actually Nivra. Before there was creation, there was only the essence. And he says, Niskav means it's completely removed. It's completely removed from worlds. Meaning like this. You have even Mamalik Kol Almin permeates world. Seviv Kol Almin encompasses the world. It's above world. But the fact that you say Seviv Kol Almin means it's still surrounding worlds. It's above worlds, but it's connected to worlds. Like we learned, there's food that you internalize, Then you have clothing that you wear around you, but it has to be your size. Yeah, you don't digest it, but it still has to be your size. Then you have housing, which is one size fits all. Is the level of, so to speak, bias. It's that
what's the significance of having his name?
because it represents different levels of Hashem. Hashem acting different ways. The Malach asked Hashem, what is your name? So, Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, what is your name? And Hashem answered, depends what I do. When I do this, I'm called Kel. When I do this, I'm called Elokim. When I do this, I'm called Tzvois. When I do this... Yeah. Eya she'eya means... No, but Eya is still the level of world. What?
Why is it the name that is the revelation we can repeat, but the essence, I'm sorry.
We cannot repeat.
But the essence we can repeat. Why? Anochi we can repeat. We say Baruch Atah a million times.
Can you step on the sefer?
No.
No. Can you step on the ground?
Yes.
Is Gashmis from Atzmus? Let me ask you, when you step on the ground, are you stepping on Hashem?
No,
No,
but there is a part of Hashem in it.
So I'm stepping on him?
No.
Very hot, very
Why not?
Not revealed.
It's not a revelation.
Is this earth, is this floor Hashem?
Yes.
Yes,
If you bow to the floor, by the way, you're worshiping idols.
absolutely.
There is a part of Hashem in the floor, but there is not revealed.
Very
Oh, so in the revelation, because we feel it, that's why you have to respect it. Because you feel it. You feel the Kedusha. Okay. To give life to heaven and earth. But the horn is given to the nation, meaning because then we're close to Hashem. Meaning, the Alter Rebbe is going to explain very simple. Chana didn't have any children, which means she had no Ava v'Yira. So what did Chana do together? She davened al Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe is first explaining what is the name of Yud Kei Vavke. The name of Yud Kei Vavke means the way Hashem's creating worlds. Right? And there is a level of Hashem higher than that. Higher than Yud Kei Vavke. And the Alter Rebbe is going to say that's why she davened al Havaya, higher than Yud Kei Vavke, to be able to get the level of Ava v'Yira that she couldn't get normally.
How did she do that? How did she?
By davening.
How did she knew she has to?
She learned Chassidus. She learned this Maimed.
But she also went to the Kohen. Right?
Yeah.
So, she went.
She went to the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gemara said she was one of the 7 prophetesses, whatever we call it, female prophets. And he says, they're craving mele bathroom kele kar mele biyuchudei. Because Moshe called Chem Nagdari say like it's mizat is like nafshay. And when a person realizes how removed Hashem is, that it's only a ray of His name is on heaven and earth, hey day of the name is a letter to Shemayim, to slahit nafshay. His soul will become inflamed. La'afshich nafshay min neged. To throw himself against it, limsin nafshay kedushas Hashem bepeil mamish, be to actually have kiddush mesidus nefesh. Yes, nefesh tzmeya. V'kol sel Hashem lizdap keducha berucha. To connect himself with Hashem. Okay, so therefore, what is the level of his baininess? But this Palol Chana, by the way, tefillah means binding and connection. How do you bind and connect to the level of Yud Kei Vavke, or even here, Al Havaya, higher than Yud Kei Vavke? So the answer is, when you daven and you meditate and you internalize, then you become one with it. Something you internalize, you become one with. Your food becomes your blood and flesh. Your clothing doesn't become your blood and flesh because you don't internalize it. When you internalize something, it becomes one with you. When a person davens, tefillah means binding, connection. If you daven in a way that you internalize it, then you become one with that level of elokus that you're revealing. That's how you connect.
It doesn't last very long.
Because then, like you said before, then it's false salute. That's the level of meshakela. They have no miscarriages.
No, but
Miscarriages mean you give birth. You have Avaya, it doesn't last.
Rabbi, it's very difficult to meditate and absorb and become one with the tefillah when you're racing with time to catch up.
it's racing right now.
It's a constant race.
Yeah, so what do you want me to do?
I don't know, it's very hard to meditate.
And if you daven for 5 hours, you'll get there.
Pardon?
If you daven for 5 hours, you'll get there.
Might, yeah, there are people who do that.
People that great chassidim used to meditate for 5 hours and daven. They didn't wake up 2 o'clock in the afternoon and daven from,
An hour before.
They used to get up before dawn and used to go to mikveh and learn and then daven for 6 hours.
Tikkun Chassid is the same.
Nah, Bob Mice.
So what about Parnassa?
Huh?
What about Parnassa? You need to work.
When you do it, God gives you parnas in less time.
It's the Gemara show. This is that.
Which means that all the thought, speech, and action should be connected. Meaning our thoughts should be in Hashem's thoughts, our speech in Hashem's speech, and so on. Within the depth of the heart. With the with a binding and the longing. Like it says, Nafshi Yisicha, and he says like this. How do you get from no children, meaning Lochana ein Yolodim, Chana didn't have any children, meaning no Ava v'Yirah. How do you get it? So he said that's what Chana did. Palochan alavaya. Tefillah, what is davening? You mean like Rashi says in Chumash, and the word naftali, which is the same root as tefillah. There's a lot of interpretations of the word means to judge or whatever. But Rashi said naftali means the expression of chibur, binding.
Have we also wrestle?
Everything. No, that's
No?
it.
That's not
Chassidus explains davening is like fighting,
Right.
wrestling versus arrows, which is long distance, which is Torah. Okay, so he says, Tefillah shemiskasher atzma al havaya l'mayla b'chinu shem havaya. Where did she tap into Chana? You know, when all is lost, you try to tap into it. In other words, if your brain doesn't cause you to have children, I mean, you're Ava and Yira, no, it doesn't cause you to have Ava and Yira, so what must you do? You have to tap into a level higher than Seichel. When you tap into a higher level of higher than Yud Kevav case, then you have things that you normally don't have. So a woman who's barren can have children.
How do you do that?
Like it says Hashem by Avram Avinu, he told him to go out. He said, go from your constellation, let's go Allah. He took him out and he looked down at the stars, meaning he became higher than the level of Mazolis and Kechovim and all that, and he changed his Mazel. That's why when, God forbid, somebody's very sick, you add a name, because then you change the Mazel.
The Jew is above the Mazel.
He's not bound. Do you say Mazel Tov to somebody? Somebody has a baby, you say Mazel Tov?
Yes.
Why do you say Mazel Tov if they have no Mazel?
It's a minute.
No, what do you mean? It's Torah.
Hey, well, wait a
You're above
minute.
it. The Shema
You
between-
saw, it says that we say by Kiddush Levana, Simen Toivu Mazel Tov.
Yes.
Yeh L'chol Yisrael.
But our Neshama is higher than Mazel.
We have Mazel, but we're not bound by Mazel.
Right. That's what.
But still have this Mazel. We could change Mazel. Our Mazel is Ayin Mazel Yisrael. But we still have Mazel. But we're above Mazel.
Right. That's what.
But if you
Could
don't
change
have
it.
Mazel, then you're Shlomazel, you know that.
What? Oh, sorry.
Is that like giving them a bracha when you tell them Mazel Tov?
It's a form of a bracha too.
You should have good mazel.
And more you give, better more it comes. It's like the cheshire.
Like what?
It's like
Yeah, Maya spring. Maya.
well spring. The
Well
more you give bracha,
What word did you use?
huh?
Cheshire.
Mayan?
Akachainik.
Mayan?
Okay. Hamer al Savas Chiyum Kili Bat Vilcha Bichudi is Bar Mitzvahs never b'shvnei atzma. So what Chana did was she attached herself to the level al Vatispalul Chana. She became connected al Havaya to the level higher than Yudke to Anechi At. Those a level higher than the name of Hashem. In a way of Mesiras Nefesh. And then you awaken Rachmim Rabbim. That's why we learned many times the order of davening is to come to B'chol Levavcha, right? And then ultimately Shmona Esrei, complete bittul. So first you have Pesukah de Zimra, then you have about the Malachim, and then what do we say right before Shema? If all is not working, then we say Avinu Avarachman Hamrachem Rachem No'aleinu. What do we finally taste Hashem? Listen, my intellect's not working, nothing's working. Avarachma means the Father of mercy, the source of mercy, which is even higher than Yudke Vavke. Yudke Vavke is Rachmin. Halavai means a level even higher than Rachmin. When we say Avarachman, from the level higher, the source of Rachman is, bring it down to us. And that's what Chana said. It does not working. Let's go tap into a level which is above. I'll give you an example. A tzaddik can give you a bracha. Give you a bracha, yeah. It can either work or not. Why? You're a vessel, it works. You're not a vessel, it's not going to work. Right? Very simple. But when a tzaddik promises, that doesn't mean anything, because a promise taps into a level even if you're not a keli, there's a keli. I have a relative, so I hear the story, many, many years ago. He didn't have any children. He went to the Rebbe for a bracha for children, and the Rebbe gave him a bracha. He said, no, I don't want that, I want a promise. He had chutzpah, but he got what he wanted. And he had a kid. He had a kid. He said to the Rebbe, I don't want a bracha, I want a promise. I mean, it takes, it's like this, it's chutzpah, but when it comes from the essence, mumka daliba, then it's a whole different story. Why? A promise, why do you need a keli for a promise? Because the promise means it's going to happen whether there's a keli or not. That comes even from a higher level.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal. Think about it. A bracha needs a keli. For like the Tzemach Tzedek told this guy, he came to the Tzemach Tzedek, asked the bracha, he gave him a bracha, didn't work. So he came back, he wanted a refund. Tzemach Tzedek said to him, for a farmer, the biggest bracha is rain. For a farmer, the biggest bracha is rain. But rain only works if you plow and you plant and you sit home a whole day and do nothing and it rains. It could be raining, but it's not a bracha. You need a keli for the bracha to work. So the Tzemach Tzedek said to this guy, make a keli. You didn't make a keli. Well, of course the bracha is not going to work.
Chana went to Eli for a promise.
She didn't go to Eli. She was davening in the base of Mikdash. Eli thought she was drunk. So she said to him, I'm not drunk.
And then what did he say to her?
He gave her a bracha. She have a kid. Obviously, we're talking who's the shluchim along the way.
The reverse works too. Maybe
What?
that if a tzaddik gives somebody a bracha, and the bracha works, that means that person had a keli.
What was the
It
promise?
could be.
What was the promise?
It could be.
He could say, oh, I want something. It worked for me.
Until 7:30.
Also, buying a ticket for lottery.
Yeah, you want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket. I can give you a bracha for a million years. A tzaddik can give you a bracha. Nothing's going to work.
That's the promise.
You need a keli. But a promise is a whole different story. It's interesting. Promise is a promise.
Who has the guts to ask the Rebbe for a promise?
Chana was a broken. Chana says, Maras Nafshi, she was a bitter woman.
She really wanted it. She wanted it.
When you mean it, it works.
It has to come from the...
I want you to know something. There's a lot of things. When people ask the Rebbe for bracha and they really meant it, they really meant it,
They
they
get
got it. That itself is the key, the master key that opens all the doors, you know. Hi, I'm here, give me a bracha, you know, come on, it's not gonna work.
The guy with the heart surgery. Please pray. Give me bracha that surgery goes on.
Yeah.
You fool, why don't you ask me to make no surgery?
No, the guy asked the Rebbe, because I have a heart condition, take away the job he gave me. So the Rebbe said, you fool, why don't you ask me to take away the heart surgery, the heart problem that you could do the remission? Listen, people are stupid. We're all stupid.
2020 hindsight.
When there's the Rishonim right, you know, the Gemara speaks about the woman could have said this, the woman could have kind of migu, you know, all that stuff. We believe it because if she was, so the Rishonim ask, maybe she's not so smart. Maybe the guy's not so smart. You know, when the Gemara says, well, you believe her because if she's alive, she could have said a better lie. Maybe she wasn't so smart to think of a better lie. So they answer, when it comes to yourself, everybody's smart. When it comes to what you need, everybody's smart.
Like dogs and slop.
Yeah, well, no, Tzlachah was smart anyway, Rashi says. They're brilliant
I
girls.
hope what you're saying is correct.
Huh?
I hope what you're saying is correct. When it
I
comes to
didn't say
the-
anything, and I just quoted what Tay says, that it's Shainim right. Of course it's correct. I don't see, and let me tell you something, I see nothing of my own.
That's-
I'm not that able to say anything of my own. There's a microphone that
That's a total bet.
total bit.
Very good.
The reason I said it because I wanted to show you that I'm bottle. You understand? I'm so great, like the guy that was learning late at night, and the shades were drawn, but he made a slit in the shade that people should look in to see he's learning. And now he's at the shades are down. He's even doesn't want to show off.
Fire!
It's a great level.
You heard the story of Baba Sali?